What would you do for love? It's a question that has haunted people for centuries. But what if the person you loved wasn't who you thought they were? What if behind their charm there was something darker? You see, she was smart, she was accomplished, successful, someone with her entire life ahead of her. But in matter of months, everything she worked for, everything she hoped for, was destroyed. Her story is not just about a woman who fell in love. No, it's about betrayal, it's about manipulation, and the darkest side of human nature. This is a story of Sara Inam and a man who killed her. Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Mint, and welcome to today's case study. But before we get into it, I just quickly want to remind you all to like and subscribe. As I've mentioned, I have a certain goal that I really want to achieve by the end of this year, and it's not going to be possible without the help of you guys, so make sure to help a brother out. Now, without further ado, let's dive into today's case. Sara Inam was just 37 years old. Born into a well-educated and respected family in Pakistan, she went on to live and work in Canada as a top economist. Her life seemed almost perfect. Successful career, financial independence, and a bright, very bright future. But you see, sometimes most dangerous things isn't what's lurking in the shadows. Sometimes the danger is standing right next to you. Sara's life would come to an horrifying end in September 2022 when she was brutally murdered in Islamabad, Pakistan. And the man who killed her own husband, Shahnawaz Amir. Side note, we're going to be referring to Shahnawaz Amir by Khaled for the following case. Khaled comes from one of the most prominent families in Pakistan. His father, Ayaz Amir, a respected journalist, politician, and a media figure. The Amir family had power, influence, everything Sara thought that would make her life better. But what she didn't know that beneath all that polished exterior, Khalid was hiding something. A past filled with red flags, financial troubles, and dangerous obsession with control. Sara met Khalid in 2022. It wasn't some long, drawn-out romance, it was quick. From the outside, it might have just even looked like a storybook romance, where everything fell into its place. Khalid was charming. He came from a good family. His father's name carried a lot of weight in Pakistan. And Sara's family had no question to ask about his intentions. But there's something important here, something critical. Sara didn't know about Khalid's past. She didn't know about the failed marriages, about the allegations of abuse, or about the spiraling financial problems. Sara and Khalid married quickly, just months after meeting. Sara decided to take a leap of faith. She left her comfortable life in Canada and moved to Pakistan to start a new chapter of her life. But almost immediately, things started to unravel. From the beginning, there were fights, and it wasn't just typically newly wedded argument. It was more than that. It was about control, about money, and about power. You see, Khalid wasn't as stable as he pretended to be. He was in deep debt and relied on Sara's financial support to keep up appearance. At first, Sara didn't mind helping. She believed in him, believed in their future together. But soon, the financial demands escalated. Khalid's temper, once hidden behind a charming smile, started to show. The smallest arguments would trigger explosive reactions. And Sara began to feel she was trapped. By the time Sarah realized how bad things were, it was too late. She was isolated in a country far from home, in a marriage she couldn't easily escape from. The situation became like a cage, and soon that cage would turn deadly. Now, I want to take a minute to talk about the Amir family. On the surface, they seemed powerful, respectable, but there were cracks in that image. Khalid's father, Ayaz Amir, was a public figure, a journalist and a politician with a reputation of speaking his mind. But being powerful doesn't mean you're perfect. And Khalid, well, he was far from it. Khalid had been married twice before he met Sara. Both marriages ended in disaster. There were allegations of emotional abuse, manipulation, and financial exploitation. But somehow, none of this information made its way to Sara. The red flags were everywhere, but Sara, like so many people, believed she could make it work. She thought she could fix it. After all, no one expects the person whom they love become their worst nightmare. But then the arguments got worse. Khalid became more controlling and demanding. And when Sara tried to set boundaries, tried to protect herself, that's when things took a turn for the worse. By the summer of 2022, Sara was scared. She spoke with her friends and families about the fights and how Khalid was becoming more aggressive, more violent. And she wasn't the only one who noticed this. Khalid's own family knew something was wrong, but no one could have predicted what would have happened next. September 23rd, 2022. It was a day that would change everything. Sara had been in Islamabad for a few months, but things were not improving. That day, an argument broke out between her and Khalid, and it always started with the same issue: money. Khalid accused Sara of hiding money from him, of not supporting him enough. He demanded more. But this time, things were different. Sara decided to stand her ground. She wasn't going to let him control her anymore. And that was a trigger. In a fit of rage, Khalid attacked Sara. It wasn't a simple fight, it was brutal. Khalid grabbed a dumbbell, a heavy metal weight, and used it to beat Sara. The blows were so relentless, so violent, fueled by pure rage. Sara didn't stand a chance. By the time Khalid was done, Sara had passed away. But that's not the end of the story. After murdering Sara, Khalid didn't run. He didn't try to hide the evidence. Instead, he wrapped her body in a sheet and stuffed it in the bathtub. What did he do next is so bizarre. He called his mother. He told her what he had done, as if it was just another problem to be dealt with. There was no remorse, no panic, just cold and calculated indifference. His mother alerted the authorities, and within hours, the police arrived at the scene. Khalid was arrested on the spot. But the aftermath of Sara's murder would send shockwaves through Pakistan and beyond. The arrest of Khalid set off a media firestorm. His father, Ayaz Amir, was dragged into the spotlight, facing questions about how his son could commit such a heinous crime. Now, there were rumors that Khalid's violent tendencies had been covered up for years, protected by his family's influence. But no amount of power could undo what had been done. Sarah's family was devastated. They had lost a daughter, a sister, and a friend. And the questions they were left with: how could this happen? Why didn't they see the warning signs sooner? Now, people tend to say a lot of things. Some people blame it on the rushed marriages, while on the other hand, people blame it on Khalid's mental health, his obsession with money and control. But no theory can truly explain the horror of what happened that day. At the end of the day, Sara Inam's murder is a chilling reminder of how dangerous relationships can become when control and obsession has taken over. It is a tragedy that has left family broken, a community shaken, and a country asking questions. Sarah was intelligent, successful, and independent, yet someone like her fell victim to the darkest form of betrayal. Love can be blind to the danger, and sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones who harm you. Her case reminds us that domestic violence doesn't discriminate based on success or status. It can happen to anyone, no matter how smart, how wealthy, or how strong they seem on the outside. And for every Sara Inam, there are countless others who suffer in silence. The warning signs can be subtle at first, the manipulation can be gradual, and by the time you realize what's happening, it can feel impossible to escape. But Sarah's story is also call to action. If you or someone you know is in an abusive or controlling relationship, please don't wait. Reach out for help. Khalid was arrested and charged with Sarah's murder. In October 2023, investigating officer Habibur Rahman testified that Khalid had confessed to the crime. But the emotional and psychological toll it has taken on Sarah's family is unimaginable. The counsel of Sarah's father had sought Khalid's sentence to be death, and all the evidence collected in the case proved his guilt. Khalid was charged with first degree murder and was sentenced to death. But the question that I really want to ask is justice ever really enough? Can it truly undo the pain, the loss, the senseless violence? This story, though horrifying, is a reminder that we must always be vigilant, not just for ourselves, but for those we love. Because sometimes the most dangerous person in your life is the one standing right beside you. And with that, I've been your host, Mint. If I said anything offensive during the video, I truly apologize. Till then, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.